It is my current goal to beat the game of Pokemon Yellow every single week in a solo challenge until I have completed all 151 Pokedex entries for this game. And this week we're taking a look at our next Eeveelution in the line, and that is Jolteon. Jolteon is, I think, by and large, my absolute favorite Eeveelution. Kind of one of those classic moments, the same way that I am with Charmander. This is what I had on my very first run, and so I'm never looking back. It's the same thing with Jolteon. Jolteon was the first one that I got for Eevee. Kind of never looked back on that one either. But the design is just so good. This little electric dog is just so beloved to me. It's also one of the ones that, to me at least, feels the most, real life dog-like. And by that, I also mean that, I can just sort of see myself being in real life if Pokemon was real. I would definitely be like a Jolteon owner or trainer, or however you would want to word that. I can imagine coming home from a 9 to 5 and finding, Jolteon sleeping on the couch kind of thing. It just feels so real, so true to real life. And I just really like that. I think it's also a little bit of the fact that, maybe it gives Golden Retriever energy to some extent. And I have been described as someone as having Golden Retriever energy, so maybe it's just we sort of have the same vibe. It's also a little punk rock. I'm a big fan of punk music, so I don't know, I think it's all kind of synergistic, But overall, Jolteon is my favorite electric Pokemon within Gen 1, and there's some pretty good Pokemon up there to compete with, but I just really love this guy so much. So I'm really looking forward to this run. It is going to be a bit difficult. There are some Pokemon that we will actually be kind of cruising through that will sometimes be an absolute wall to other Pokemon, but then we're going to have some real struggles against people like Giovanni. Giovanni is probably the person I'm looking forward to the least, and also the champion specifically just because of Sandslash. Sandslash with Earthquake at the end is going to be quite devastating to go up against, and the main reason for that is that Vaporeon had a move that naturally boosted its defense, which then of course has the badge boost glitch boost the other stats. The only badge boost glitch that we will have access to is one that boosts our speed, and while it will boost our defense, I'm not really confident it's going to be by enough. Now, that being said, we do still have some access to some interesting things here on this run, and I had to make a lot of decisions that I feel like I've never had to make before in this game, which is sometimes looking at move pools and going, this is a little kind of all over the place, and what is really going to serve me best, especially when, I am used to having Jolteon, but on a team, not individually. So using Jolteon only makes a larger challenge when you think about the moves that we do have at our disposal and how I'm going to use them, when I'm going to swap things out, what is the right thing to use against what, and especially if you don't have something like a move tutor, how long do you hold on to some of these moves? It feels kind of at times like an impossible challenge. So it's going to be a lot of potentially challenging, perhaps, decisions on my part that I'm sure someone who is smarter than me or someone who has done this before me might look at this and go, now why did you hold on to this move until, the Elite Four kind of thing? Well, it's because I don't know any better. But what we do have access to are some of the things that I think we're all kind of expecting from an electric Pokemon, right? You've got Thunder Wave, you've got Thunder Shock, Thunderbolt, Thunder. Those are the moves that you're definitely going to see on this move pool, or on this learn set rather. Outside of Thunder having a 70% accuracy, to me, especially in Gen 1, means that it's probably more likely going to be a 40% accurate thing. And it's just one of those classic moments of a thing that I have said before in a video that has not come out yet, but a collaboration that I did with my friend Dark Carp, who I frequently do name my rival after, actually. I told him one time in a video that'll come out sometime this year, I have taken more Hydro Pumps than I have ever hit. And that is how I feel about Thunder as well. So that is why I typically leave those moves behind. What we also have access to are some of the other TMs that you're definitely going to be ready for, something like Body Slam. We also have access to things like Reflect, which will be very good for having some form of extra defense here for a Pokemon that can't boost its stats. But then we also have Double Kick, which is pretty interesting, but not helpful in this first fight. That's going to make that a little bit more difficult as well. Double Kick is one of those moves where they gave you a Pokemon in Pokemon Yellow that can learn this early on because Pikachu clearly cannot clear Brock very quickly or efficiently. So they gave you something with that kind of move early on. However, this Pokemon does not learn it until level 30, and we are certainly not going to grind until level 30. So that is going to be in play later, but of course it's going to be too late for Brock. We're going to have to figure that situation out in just a moment. The other move that's going to be really fascinating to see is Pin Missile. Pin Missile is a bug-type move, and bugs really got a pretty bad rap up until, like, what, Gen 7, maybe Gen 6? That's probably around the time that I think we've really started to see bug moves actually be helpful or interesting or intriguing. There's a lot of very weak bugs for just so long. But Pin Missile is a very weak powered move, and unfortunately it's not super accurate, but it does strike multiple times. So in the rare occasion where a bug move could actually do good, if we hit, maybe it'll do something. Can we cook? I really don't know. But up for Brock, we are going to start cooking immediately. I'm going into this, I would argue, way too low of a level. I just don't think my attack is all that great. We can make it, it's just difficult. The big thing that you want to do is you want to spam the sand attack so that we don't take any damage or as little damage as possible. Then use the tail whip because both of these Pokemon do not have any defense boosting moves, which is very nice for Pokemon Yellow. And then we can start hitting things like, quick attack. The big thing here is that if he does use Bide, I have to use tail whip or sand attack to feed into it, like you'll see right here. Because anything that I give to him, it doesn't matter if I lower his accuracy, it doesn't miss. So I have to make sure that I am getting an opportunity to have nothing come back to me and only attack when it is safe for me to do so. But also that gives me more opportunities to spam the tail whip so that the defense can drop even lower until I can do it no further. And then earlier, I kind of try to raise some drama of, I don't know if level 12 is good enough. Well, actually, I do know it's good enough, because with Sand Attack, I know that most of his attacks aren't going to hit while I can whittle him down. And so even though I get very close to death, we make it through, and that is badge number 1 down for Jolteon. Up next, of course, is Cerulean City. After you make your way through Mount Moon, a lot of the times the thing that I do next is go up against the rival, then go up through Nugget Bridge, get the ticket for the SS Anne from Bill, and then come down to fight Misty. But here, once you have a Pokemon that for sure is super effective against her, I kind of feel like there's no reason to do that. You don't necessarily need any extra levels. So it just kind of comes down to just go directly heal and then walk right in. Here you can see that it's going to take 2 shots for everything just because Thunder Shock isn't super strong. But that is more than enough to take out Misty and get the second badge. Then we're going to basically do the exact same thing, which is go out, immediately heal. And then it's basically business as usual. We're going to go take on the rival. Don't worry, I know I did accidentally walk past the rare candy. I do get it on my way back. But this particular fight is a little interesting to me. Like, it's not necessarily difficult, but of course this Sandshrew does give me a little bit of trouble. Perhaps a little bit of foreshadowing for the future, just because I don't have anything that's really effective against it, and all of my moves are just sort of eh. Everything else, though, goes down pretty quickly, and therefore we get to move on and go get that SS Anne ticket, and then we can actually go straight there, because we've already defeated Misty. Now, here I am going to take a quick sidestep and go to a different hallway, different room that I normally immediately go to off-rip. We are going to pick up the TM for Rest. Rest and I aren't exactly, BFFs. I really don't spam Rest. I don't use it often in my runs. And in real life, Sleep and I are kind of mortal enemies. I frequently have trouble with sleeping. So I just sort of feel like it never really fits my vibe. You know what I mean? but Body Slam for sure does. So of course we pick that one up, one of my favorite moves of all time, or at least within this game. It is truly such a good move. It hits pretty hard and also has the option to paralyze. So why wouldn't you pick it up? Then I don't know why I chose to fight this girl. I really didn't need the XP. Wasn't really like it was out of my way, or she was in my way rather. So I don't know. I guess past Colin had an idea. And present Colin also has an idea, and that is the fact that Rival 3 really shouldn't be all that different from Rival number 2. The only difference here is that I am a couple levels higher, and so Sandshrew goes down, I think technically a little bit simpler, but really not by a lot, and then the rest of the fight is basically exactly the same. We do defeat our rival, so we can go get the HM for cut, which means that after we leave the SSN and wave to everybody going goodbye, goodbye, have a good trip, we can then walk into Lieutenant Surge's gym. Now, this is going to be a fairly simple one. I mean, let's be real, it always is, but I never know if this is someone's first time here on the channel, so I always like to explain. Surge is just bad. I mean, at least in this game. In Red and Blue, he's pretty hard, but he only has Raichu, and he frequently picks bad plays, so I don't know, man. Do better, I guess. I rarely showed this area, but this was a part that got a little tense. I was poisoned, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to make it, but I had just picked up Double Kick not long ago, and so luckily, in this generation, you only take poison if they survive the turn. As you can see, the Graveler did. So I took a little bit of poison damage, but not a lot. Double Kick actually got us through. So Rock Tunnel, not a problem. Then we make our way to Celadon. At Celadon, I always love to do a little bit of shopping up in the mall area. The Celadon department store, I guess, is technically what it's called, but to me, it's always just the mall. And then I pick up a couple of items, and you'll see them come into play a little bit later. And after that, we go to Erica's gym. At Erica's gym, I don't fight everybody like I might with certain other Pokemon, but I do fight until I get to level 36 for sure, because level 36 gets me Pin Missile. And while it is a pretty bad move like we discussed earlier, it does decent against the solo or mono grass Pokemon Tangela, but the dual types here, oh, it just rinses right through them. Times 4 effectiveness. A thing of beauty for an electric type Pokemon to make its way that quickly through a grass gym. Nicely done, boy. Up next, you have another rival. I know, we just saw him, I get it. But this time he is actually even simpler because we do have Body Slam, and at this point Sandshrew is going to go down much faster. This is not going to be the case for the rest of the game, but we can enjoy it while we can. That seems kind of fair and nice. After that, we will go to the top of the Pokemon Tower. We'll then meet Mr. Fuji. He'll give us the Poke Flute, and then we'll make our way down to Fuchsia. At Fuchsia, we will go through the gym, and I know I'm a little underleveled, but honestly, even though Electric type is not super effective against Koga's gym, getting the stab in here and just being faster than everything does me really, really well. The first 3 Pokemon go down in one hit, and then Venomoth is not an issue. So we get through at just shy of level 45, and a little poisoned. But then we heal up, we make our way to Silphco, I pick up the rare candy from the 10th floor, and then I do a couple of optional fights, but really just the 2 that I am required to do between here and the fight for the rival. At the rival fight, we are definitely seeing a harder team, but nothing that we can't handle with Body Slam and Thunderbolt at this point. I guess technically Double Kick, but also if I really wanted to, I probably could have set up with Agility. Sandslash doesn't have anything that's really all that great against me right now, so I probably could have set up against him in the beginning, but I don't. So we won't see any badge boost glitch just yet, but I did get rid of our Pin Missile move for that. I don't know if that is a mistake. There's a part of me that still thinks that perhaps the best possible move would have been to have just gone ahead and forgotten Double Kick, but I can see a couple different Pokemon that specifically that's going to be really helpful for, so I don't know. I think it's the right move. It's just one of those things where there's a couple of Pokemon that this would have helped us with in the future. But I think that agility will do us better in the long run. If nothing else, it's going to be able to boost my defense. Not by necessarily a crazy amount, but it is going to help it a bit. For Giovanni's team, the middle two Pokemon are definitely very weak to Double Kick. Nidorino goes down pretty fast to like a Thunderbolt or a Body Slam, and really the only obstacle just becomes the Nidoqueen. But even with our limited resources, we actually make it through that fight pretty quickly. Also, what's going to be a very quick fight is the fight against Sabrina. We do luckily outspeed everything, but look at those defenses, 28, 43, 58. And even though I have a little bit of a misclick here, I miss Body Slam and actually go for Double Kick, even with that, we have no stat drops, and it isn't until the last second with Alakazam that we lose even any health. It is a one and done, very simple, very easy match. Thank you so much for playing. I will see you in the next one, Sabrina. Then you have Blaine. Blaine is definitely a little bit of a trickier guy. He can sometimes play really well, sometimes he plays very kind of mid. And today is one of those situations. I just keep hitting Thunderbolt. It's just a 2-hit on every single one of his Pokemon. Even with the burn, it doesn't matter. We get the win very quickly. So I will go heal, but of course we're going to dig our way out of here and then end up in Viridian, where, oh my gosh, wouldn't you believe it? It's Giovanni again. Ugh. Now, with Giovanni, I am definitely going to have to use up most of my rare candies a little bit early. I'm going to save a couple for leveling up in the middle of the Elite Four to make sure that I don't level up mid-battle. But here we are going to have a little bit of a battle of, not wits, but perhaps my patience, I suppose. There's definitely moments in here where I was getting a little frustrated because I was moving a little slower than I would like to. Again, it's not a speed run, but I do want to still seem, decent at the thing. And unfortunately, we're getting a lot of situations here that are not ideal. One of which is really just the Rhydon, that no matter what I do, it ends up with so much health left over. Okay, well, not great, but it's not like I can send in someone else instead. I have to stick by the side of my Jolteon. I've mentioned this before in previous videos that I'm not very good at math, so there's a lot of things like damage calculations that I don't really fully understand, so I never really dive too far into them. Here is a section where I thought maybe I could just teach Reflect instead of Double Kick so that I get a little extra defense, but I thought I still think that Double Kick at a boosted amount will do more than the Body Slam would, so I felt like it was right to keep it, but I just don't know. Luckily though, on this time, I didn't need to worry about that. I didn't need to worry about potentially picking up the 12th and final rare candy from the power plant and add even more time. Instead, I just stuck with it for just a little bit longer, and here we got the run that we needed. I think one of the big crucial things is Giovanni throwing using some of his little guard specs. Always a thing that he does that gives you an extra turn, and with that, we take down the Rhydon and we have defeated Giovanni, and we have the 8th and final badge. Now, we are getting pretty close to double the time of the Vaporeon, which is not necessarily something that I love to see, but again, I think a lot of it just comes down to the learn sets that you get to have in this game. Some Pokemon just really are not given all the tools in the shed, and the water Pokemon have it pretty nice, and actually so do the grass Pokemon, at least if they can learn Swords Dance. Here though, even though we've got something to boost our stats, there's a lot of things that we still struggle with, and so therefore I have to think a little bit about what I'm going to do once I get to the Elite Four. Going up against Rival 6, I'm getting a little bit of a precursory glance at what that final fight is going to be like, and so far it does seem like it's going to be pretty easy, but I'm not convinced. I think Sandslash having Earthquake, and of course evolving the last two Pokemon will also be like a big deal, so only time will tell. After making my way through Victory Road and getting just a couple more levels, I go in, I drop off all my H employees, I heal up, I'm going to go buy a couple of full restores, And with that, it's time to go face the Elite Four. I save on the outside, which is odd because I really should save in front of the person. I don't know why I do both of those. It's, I guess, just a weird bad habit. But with Lorelei, we don't have a lot to worry about. Honestly, I probably don't even really need to do the setup. I think it just helps against someone like Jinx, who is not very weak to my Thunderbolt. But Thunderbolt should be enough to take out 4 out of these 5 Pokemon. It's super effective. It's stab. Look at that, 285 power. It's pretty darn good. I do get a Gen 1 miss against the Jinx. That is something to behold. But we finally take it down and Thunderbolt takes out the Lapras. That one, easy peasy. Bruno is one of those reasons why I also considered keeping Double Kick. It kind of makes me think of the Rhydon. I mean, this first one only knows Dig, which I mean is still strong, but I have the ability and the time to at least set up some agilities against it. And then I could also do the same thing against the Onix, although Earthquake, it gets an instant hit, not a 2-turn hit. So, you know, not necessarily a free move, but I feel like the Double Kick is necessary for the two of them. The other thing, though, is that Bruno is much like Surge. He's just not very good. He doesn't always pick the best AI moves, which is why he doesn't use Dig. It's why he doesn't use Earthquake here. He had a free opportunity to use that, and he goes for Slam instead. Okay, man. And it also, like, should have been a free thing for him because my defense was lowered. That could have been a free win for Bruno for the first time in, God, months at this point. We've had very few resets against Bruno, and it just sort of continues to be the trend. Up next is Agatha. Agatha is very much a hit or miss type of deal. I mean, I realize that you could probably say that about a lot of gym leaders and or Elite Four members, but really Agatha is frequently either a major wall or it's one and done. It is very rare for it to be, oh, one reset and then you're through. It's usually either first try or 20 tries. Luckily today, even though nothing that I have is super effective against these Pokemon, setting up 3 times with agility gets me to +6 in my speed and boosts up all the other things a little bit nicely with that badge boost glitch, and then we get that win. Then it is time for Lance. Now here I probably don't really need to do much, but I do set up the Reflect just because I have a couple of concerns. Not so much for this fight as much as I do for the champion fight, but I didn't need Double Kick anymore, so it just felt right to just go ahead and do. Plus, if it goes for Hyper Beam, I definitely live it. Now that I'm set up 3 times and have a Reflect, I can go in and I outspeed everything, and Thunderbolt just one-shots everything. We are looking quite nice going into this champion fight. The question is after I use that last rare candy and get myself to level 72, with Reflect, giving myself a little bit of a boost and then dropping in all of those agilities. Oh, yeah, that's kind of what I was worried about. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of critical hits for this Pokemon. I mean, exactly like that. It's unfortunate, but I also don't know why I stuttered so bad. That was pretty rough to hear myself do. But Sandslash crits a lot, and a lot of that is from, well, you know, Slash, but even Earthquake also is having a pretty high crit rate here. It's an unfortunate amount of times of resets here. I mean, even with Reflect, it's just skipping past any of these extra parameters anytime it gets a critical hit, and so it just drops me down really significantly. And even with multiple setups, I'm still losing a lot of HP. I don't really know if there's an ability here in which I just go for Reflect and then rest. I still think I end up coming out with basically half health, if even. And now I'm in a bad spot. I'm at 6 health. If I don't one-shot things, I'm done. And that's the main reason why I went for Thunderbolt there. I knew that that Body Slam was not going to one-tap. So I just said, all right, let's end it. Let's come back with at least a little bit more health. As long as I can live 1 hit from an Exeggutor, I should be okay. The really big problem for me in the middle game becomes Exeggutor and Magneton, both having fairly decent defenses. I need to be able to get past those for something that I don't have anything super effective against. So I just have a lot of struggles, I guess, really is the only way to look at it. When you think about the champion team, there's only 3 Pokemon that we're very effective against, Alakazam just because its defense is terrible, and Body Slam will obviously be great against it. Cloyster because for sure the Thunderbolt will be very nice against that as well. And then honestly Flareon, not very powerful, and the defense is also pretty atrocious, so Body Slam will take care of that pretty nicely. Magneton just sort of not rejects, that's not the word that I'm looking for. It resists, that is the one. Nice little blooper there for you. It resists my Thunderbolt, and so I have to rely on my Body Slam, which, again, like I mentioned earlier, the defense is good enough that it's probably not going to one-tap unless I get a special little crit, which could happen. I mean, my crit rate is actually pretty nice, and maybe it'll skip over all of the badge boosts and just sort of not matter. But then Exeggutor, again, it doesn't even do that much damage. It just has the ability to really chip away at me. I think that's the biggest thing. It's very good for chip damage. Sandslash, of course, is the hardest thing for us to fight here. If I get past the Sandslash, which at this point has been very rare, then it becomes an uphill battle. You know, look at this. We are down to 36 health, but oh, wait a minute. Hang on. But that means that we're down to the last two Pokemon, and I just said that those two are easy. And would you look at that? I was right. Never doubt me. Me? And with that, we get it at 1 hour, 30 minutes, 51 seconds. Again, it is basically double what we got with Vaporeon, and that is a little bit of a head scratcher. I was really kind of hoping that Jolteon will make it through a little bit quicker. What really does not help is the amount of resets that we had. Maybe just some slightly better RNG, slightly better luck, maybe one extra level, even two, could have made all the difference. I don't really know. Someday we will take another glance at it though, and we will see what we can do with this special little dog boy that I love so very dearly. Thank you so much for watching. Anytime you do any kind of interaction with the creations of a smaller creator like myself, whether it's liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, I'm almost at 500. It's a big goal for me. But even just the watching, it really means a lot. So thank you very much for being a part of this. Be kind to yourself, be excellent to one another, and I will see you all next week for another solo challenge in Pokemon Yellow.